You might as well be a stormtrooper. And number 65 is the first entry into the Star Wars universe with Rogue One. Welcome to Long Play Video. All right, welcome into Long Play Video. We're running through my 100 favorite films of all time. And number 65, we've hit the first film from a trilogy, although it's not in the trilogy. But at 65, we bring in Rogue One from 2016, and because it's Star Wars, and Star Wars means a lot to me just generally. And also I need a lift home from work today. Then we've invited my big brother Wob down to the store to talk through Star Wars.
Hi Andy, hi Kev.
Hey, welcome to the shop.
Long time listener, first time caller.
There's been a lot of chat on Instagram about this. It was like, when is Andy's brother coming on? When are we covering a Star Wars film? I mean, and you know, we're doing both in one go now. I mean, the fans are gonna go crazy.
Well, it's my first trip to the store. It's quite nice to actually see a film on a shelf rather than I think all the rest of them have just been in the bucket at the end. So it's quite nice to see a film that's on a shelf.
Yeah. Arguably the only other person who doesn't have to watch a film when playing along at home and listening to the other pods.
I'm more your side, Kev, though. Like, obviously, Andy knows every single film, what flight he was on, what year, what he was wearing, and Kev, you don't even remember whether you've seen the film. So I'm more your end of the spectrum than Andy.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's all these obscure films he's picking out of nowhere, and I'm like, I mean, it must be like trauma for you if you're you're listening to these and remembering the top 50s that you've had to watch.
Well, it's that pre-season, like watching all the ones that haven't even made the list. That's the we put the miles in, Kev. You just spawn in last moment for the glory. You haven't done the John Dillmans.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, there's still some absolute bangers on this list. I mean, looking for Eric definitely comes to mind. That was,
I think you vetoed that one completely, Rob. I don't think you watched that the first time around.
Yeah,
just watched the 84, 85 season review again from Liverpool. So so here we are. Star Wars, and Rogue One. Obviously, invited you down to the shop. Do you have a video that you're returning, Bob? Before we can Rogue One?
Well, so it's not Star Wars related, but I thought I'd return Cobra, Spy Slow, 1986. Now, it wasn't 1986 when I saw it first, but it was the first 18 video I ever saw. And in those days, the age restriction was like, well, more of a guide than a raw. I was probably 16 when I went and got it. And the funny story is that when I went into the video shop, they decided that actually maybe they shouldn't release 18s to kids. So they let us put a code on the video shots, like the video list. And that code meant if you said that, you could take an 18 video. But the weird thing is, so I set that code when I was about 16. So actually, it's all, but it sort of gave them comfort that they weren't creating a new generation of leather-clad bikers running around the local area.
I remember for 2 years you did have a matchstick in your mouth, though.
And I've always struggled with the long words.
That's it. Yeah, that's a funny and a great video shop experience as well. I just imagine you going in a long trench coat. Hello, good day, sir.
With a fake moustache and some glasses.
It was never that hard in my era. You just walked in. Yeah, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it, and you got away with it.
Yeah. Wow. Those are the good old days, right?
we have much more controls a long play video.
Yeah.
Have we actually had an 18 on the? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
we
that
must
we
have done.
Yeah, I'm not
Surely.
sure.
Well, we had Murderers Camp. That must be an 18.
No,
It's
I
just
don't
death
think it is.
everywhere.
I think it's only you who sees so much death in that. Everyone else sees a contemplative, meditative retreat in Korea. So it's only you who's obsessed with the death. But
That feels like, if you're seeing meditation on that, that feels like what Batman sees at the start of Batman Begins, where he's trying to be chill. And you're like, no, he's crazy and he's about to get mad. Yeah, wow. So the first 18.
Yeah, that was my first 18.
Yeah, wow.
It's
There you go.
form the character I am today. Always spicy. The lesser man.
Well, it is a very funny episode of how did this get made on Cobra. So
yeah.
they maybe don't rate it that
I'll
highly.
have to
But
listen to that.
this is this is the first, I think, the first PG-13 Star Wars. We'll bring it back to Rogue One. So Rogue One, 2016. I don't think we need to bother with the video cover, but we can. We kind of know all about it.
I'd be interested to hear though, on your what is your Star Wars journey, or are you? It sounds like you were saying you're a big Star Wars fan. So are you have you seen them all? Are you you've got them all in order and stuff? Walk us through that bit.
Yes, I have seen all the Star Wars. Although nowadays, I mean, that used to be a lot easier to have seen all the Star Wars. Now, I haven't seen all of the Star Wars IP because it's just so much of it. There's so many TV series and spin-offs and stuff like that. But yeah, Star Wars for me and for us in the house, just was a part of our childhood that was just there. I mean, I don't remember the first time watching Star Wars. I have no memory not having watched Star Wars.
Wow.
It was just something that was there, that was in the house. We had a lot of the toys. We had, every time that we got together with our cousins, we would play Star Wars and act out Star Wars. Obviously, always a bit of controversy about who was Luke, who was Han, which one you actually wanted to be. Damn you, Wob. No one wanted to be Luke. We kind of grew up with it, which is then interesting because Rogue One for me is my favorite sort of non-original trilogy. It's the only one for kind of the new films that I think is actually like a full film. I think all of the other ones, there were good scenes and there were, maybe even a couple of good scenes, but then there were also just appalling scenes that just kind of, ruin it a bit. So that's why Rogue One for me, so it came out in 2016 and it came out after The Force Awakens. So I think that's something to bear in mind. So all of the three prequels, I mean, this gets difficult now, but all of the three, episode 1, 2, and 3 had already come out. And then The Force Awakens had come out as well. So it fits in there between Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And obviously this one takes place just before the original Star Wars. So funnily enough, as I was looking in my emails to see how quickly I'd been to see it after it came out and what the circumstances were, I had sent to a friend that I read a description that it's the sequel to the prequels, but a prequel to the original, which obviously now are prequels to the sequel that just came out. So they like to make it a bit more complicated, but basically it's 3.5 in the list of films.
And so it's effectively episode 5.5, I guess. Is that right?
No, it's just 3.5.
So it's okay. So it's 3.5. So it's before the original films.
Yeah.
Have you not seen it?
I have seen it, but I'm not a massive not that I'm not a Star Wars fan. I've seen the films, but I wasn't I didn't have the characters and stuff. I was more
Transformers.
Like He-Man and Mask. I had more of.
Star
Yeah.
Trek. Then
Yeah.
wait for you one listener to get on the comments.
So this
do
is the one where
remember-
Spock dies, right? Is that right?
That guy's always dead. Yeah, so I don't like. For me, they don't resonate as much. I mean, I do. We were saying about this thing the other day. Well, just the thought of going to see this film, like not this film, but the original Star Wars film, Episode 4, in the cinema, must have just been. It must have been absolutely amazing just to be able to like such a revolutionary film to see, and like the special effects and things. But yeah, I do remember seeing Rogue One. I do remember enjoying it, and I think maybe more so because they concentrate on it being an actual film as opposed to trying to make sure you get all these cameos in for the fanboys. And I think that's for me where I get a bit with the new films. I'm just like, just build a new film. Stop worrying about everything that's happened. If anyone wants to watch, the old actors, they can go and watch the old films. I don't need to see, Han Solo in another film. Like, he's gone. Leave him. Let move on.
Only Daniel Craig coming in as a stormtrooper.
Yeah. Yes, don't do that. So yeah, is that right that this one's not really hasn't got as many cameos in, or it's more of a separate story to like some of the others?
Well, in some ways, yes, in some ways, no. Because funnily enough, so it does have Darth Vader, and it does have
okay,
a sort of a computer generated Carrie Fisher right at the end as Princess Leia.
Okay, that's all right though.
It does also
storyline, isn't it? They don't bring Vader in just to laugh.
Yeah. He's not in the background at the bar.
He's not known for his laughing, I must admit. Yeah.
But yeah, and there are quite a few kind of Easter eggs, and there are quite a few, and it's sort of funny because the criticism of this film was you read some of the reviews, and some people are like, they just bought sort of Easter eggs in the background just pointlessly, and then other people say exactly what you say, Kev, and are like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. And that's the problem almost with Star Wars, like why I think we talked about maybe going to secret cinema Star Wars, and I was like, no, because you're going to get dressed up, and then someone's going to be like, oh no, that insignia, don't go with those boots. What are you talking about? That your costume just isn't right. And that obviously there are people who take the entire Star Wars thing much more seriously, which is why we've got Rob on.
So who's the biggest Star Wars fan then? Is that you, Rob?
I don't know, just purely I think logistics. Obviously, I think apart from the original, I think I've seen all the others in the cinema. So from it far on, I think from memory, I saw this in the cinema. I saw Solo in the cinema.
Oh yeah,
and obviously my children as well, sort of like being brought up in the universe. My two, Chewie and Han. So again, it's something that we've shared, and as you asked earlier, Kev, I think I've definitely got the first 3 on video, as well as all of them on DVD. I'd take a punt. I might even have some of the they reworked the first 3, the original 3, and I might have them. So I do have quite a few of them on different formats. But I don't.
It's impressive as well. No one else can see this, but it's impressive that you've dressed up as Han Solo today. You've really gone to town just to make sure that Andy couldn't. Although Andy, I feel like you're like Obi-Wan Kenobi on like his day off. That's like it's just,
that's the vibe I was going for. That's great. The cosplay, well, we'll kind of leave the rest of the Star Wars films because they do feature on the list because they are so iconic. But so the out of the kind of the prequels and the sequels and the extended universe. So we went to see this together. With Chewie and Han as well. That'd be so fun if we start calling them that. So with the boys as well, we went to see it in IMAX. I do remember that there's quite a big spoiler about what happens at the end. And as we came out, we were talking to the boys about whether they enjoyed it, and one of them said no because and said the spoiler like as we were walking past the queue of people queuing up to go in. And I don't think anyone heard, but I do remember that we made fun of him a bit for it. We're like, oh no, you ruined it for everyone.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Well, don't tell me now because I don't remember it. So it'll be something to look forward to when I watch it. Yeah.
Every film you watch.
It's not the biggest spoiler as Souls of it.
No. Yeah. I might have a clue of what happens. Yes. Yeah.
We'll save that for Empire. But yeah, I think for me, and this is well, obviously we've had the conversation a few times. I mean the prequels coming out, and just for the prequels and for the Phantom Menace, we did queue up outside the cinema until midnight to get tickets, because that was how you got tickets to films. And so we did that together. And obviously going to see a Star Wars in the cinema after 20 years or 25 years since the original ones, obviously it does definitely for the event hold a special place in my heart. But the film is not the greatest, I would say.
This film?
No, Phantom Menace, as far as the prequels are concerned. Again, a couple of good scenes, but then it just doesn't hold together for me. And I know that we've had that conversation a few times. What would you say is your favorite non-original, Rob?
Well, I quite like Phantom Menace. Again, it was like that, obviously, sort of years of waiting. Sort of the podcast race is really good. You start to see the sort of the development of Anakin. So I would quite like that. I think some of the later ones just got a bit too into the the effects and stuff. Obviously the last one was quite good
because of the fight.
I think in my view, like Marvel have obviously taken on a mantle where basically all they have is like 5 scenes in a movie, and then they just try and loop it together. Where I think sort of like Phantom Menace probably started the trend where actually, you spend all your money on a couple of things and then, have a green screen and let us a little dialogue just to sort of sort of marry the sort of the big scenes. So, but I think Attack of the Clones I thought was really good, apart from 40 minutes in the middle when they had to develop the Anakin story, which was just a bit bizarre, a bit dull.
I mean, I mean, Jar Jar Binks is my response to that.
Yeah, that's always the issue, isn't it? That's what everyone always talks about. Like Jar Jar was so terrible.
Yeah, and just the Gungans as a whole, and that's the thing. Like, there is I think it's right in both films. There is a good sort of 40 minutes or so that you can sort of have a cup of tea, maybe have some lunch, just have a chat. Go to the gelato stand, look at your phone. Whereas with this one, I think it is quite tight, and it kind of moves at a good pace, I remember, and also because I think this is very much in the same vibe as the original Star Wars. Like, this is an indie film with a big budget. I mean, they still spent $200 million, but like the way that they shot it and the way that the kind of the sensibility behind it is an indie movie, and that's sort of definitely true of the director and kind of what he was doing. And there's obviously, like, when most films I find a podcast and I listen to it, obviously there are an entire series of podcasts on this one dissecting it and all of the footage that he has and how like the edit came together, because he shot just so much. And he actually, the director sort of says, we would just shoot things because it looked cool, and then we'd sort of figure out whether we would put it in the film or not. So actually the trailer has a whole bunch of stuff that he sort of says, marketing would sort of look at what we were doing and they'd pick out scenes for the trailer, and like 50% of them aren't actually in the film, but because they almost didn't have anything to do with it, but they thought it looked cool, and they, and he agreed that it looked cool, but it just didn't fit in the film. So that's why for me, this is the most tonally, I think this fits in much more with like New Hope and Empire Strikes Back than any of the other films. I think it would be the least jarring. I think arguably if you were to choose a trilogy, you could choose this, New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back as like the three films to
Ooh.
watch. I mean, Return of the Jedi and the Ewoks. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Didn't like
troublesome.
that.
No, I mean,
What have you got against Ewoks?
No, I grew up with Return of the Jedi is
With
actually
Ewoks? Yeah.
we
Is
don't
that
talk,
why you hate them so much?
It explains a lot, but
we don't talk about the other brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I grew up with Return of the Jedi because of the timing when it came out. Obviously, Return of the Jedi is much more of a kids movie because of the Ewoks.
Yeah.
And so actually Return of the Jedi, I think may even be the highest of the original films. But like now with hindsight, you can see that it is quite different, and it is kind of playing into which toys are gonna sell
Yeah.
best.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, I think tonally, this one, New Hope and Empire Strikes Back are really kind of close. Which, I mean, obviously, Force Awakens is basically just New Hope, like redone with different characters and a better green screen. Whereas this sort of has the vibe of a Star Wars film, but is obviously a modern film as well.
yeah, I disagree.
Yeah. Yes. Let it begin. Yeah.
You'll be hearing the bell on the door. The door.
Yeah. The door's been locked. No one's allowed in. Yeah.
We've put down the shutters.
Yeah. So I think the Return, if that wasn't part of the trilogy and you just went with your kids to watch a film, a couple of bad guys, a couple of Ewoks, you'd watch it. Where I think with this one, I think take it out the trilogy and it doesn't stand up. It's just
That's interesting.
It's funny.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's funny, Andy, you say about sort of direction of shots. Now, what I remember watching from this film, like the last scene, the big scene when they're trying to get the plans, was that everyone was shooting and no one was hitting anything. And I think it was like a great sort of like, I know, almost Saving Ryan sort of off the beach, all the dramatic fires and shots and everything else, but no one actually getting hit.
Yeah. The stormtroopers are known for not having the best aim.
It's been terrible. How has Hanks made it in again? Oh my God, that guy.
It just always turns out, yeah, here's the 10 pounds that I gave you to make of Axel. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and yeah, I'm not saying to take out Return of the Jedi again, like, but out of all of the prequels, where would you have this then in sort of the non-original trilogy in the list?
Yeah, I'd have it bottom.
This is your least favorite. You think this is a worse film than Solo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually quite like Solo.
Yeah,
that's just ridiculous.
It's all right.
Remember, Andy, you've got some terrible films you've made us both watch, so you got to be careful what you say. Yeah.
When we do season 2 of our favourites, Kev, we'll have Solo.
Solo, yeah, number one.
Right. I mean that means it'll be another 3 years before we get to it. So it'll be, I'll be braced. It'll be fine. Solo's an awful movie. I can't believe you would put this bottom. You would think this is worse than Revenge of the Sith. This is worse than that's just,
and it's even marginal in my view. Now, granted, I didn't like it when I first watched it. I think I've watched it once since, and it wasn't as grating. So it's
so
it would have gone up or down or whatever measure you guys.
Yeah, it's always up, top of the pops. So what is it about this one that you didn't like when you watched it and rewatched it? What is it that you just what is it?
Yeah, I just don't think it works. And again, we're going on memory before I rewatch it and maybe then itself. But it almost seemed completely outside the Star Wars universe. But then they just put a few gimmicks and then tie it really nicely into the sort of the end of this film and the start of New Hope. But it just I thought it just got a bit boring. And then funnily enough, obviously Disney had now done the series with Andor. And that was even more. It was painful.
Yeah, I can watch that. That looked too painful.
Yeah, honestly, just watch the last 2, and you know what was happening.
That seems to be the case with all of the Disney Star Wars TV shows. Apart from The Mandalorian, all of them are just watch the last 2 and you're fine.
Yeah, but Andor was one of the more critically accepted. I know way more people that like Andor than pretty much any other one outside of the first season of The Mandalorian, I think, which was a cultural thing. Funnily enough, I couldn't get through all of Andor as well. I was just like, it was very slow. Well, that's it. I mean, I'm not holding out hope that your first words will be like, "Oh, I've completely changed my mind," because I know my brother better than that.
I feel like now, so we've got like the purists as like the originals, see the originals in the film versus the I don't know, what would you say your tagline is?
Younger brother.
Yeah. Does that make you Jar Jar Binks?
I mean, it goes into Legends of the Fall, which is another one not on my list.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, classic.
But I think that this is almost the only sort of grown-up movie in the extended universe as well. Because I think, apart from the second half of three, I can't even remember what it's called.
Episode.
Revenge of the Sith. Until sort of the second half, which again is like a lightsaber battle. That's essentially why you don't like this film, because there's no lightsabers in it.
Well, why are there no lightsabers in this movie?
Spoilers.
Yeah, not watching it.
It's just it's a bad film in my view.
There must surely she is a Jedi, right? So
no,
she doesn't have a lightsaber.
No, she's not. That's the thing. There were no Jedis in this because there are no Jedis.
Okay.
Because there are no Jedis. Because the Jedi Order has fallen, and there were supposed to be no Jedis. Right? There's an old man just hanging out. No, I'm just saying there's an old man hanging out in the sea, the sand dunes. And there's obviously another one that just isn't mentioned until they need a new character in Empire Strikes Back. But that's the point of this, is that it is quite bleak. It is quite dark, because the Empire has taken over and the Empire has won. And it's what I think is really good in this is that, like, there isn't hope. It is a dark war story. It is about there's an empire that has control over everything. The sort of the rebels that are there aren't organized. They can't do anything. They disagree with each other, as almost you would have. And then this leads then into A New Hope, because and I mean it's a bit on the nose right at the end, I would say, from what I remember. But like that's the point, is that this is for me definitely the darkest movie, even though obviously second half of Revenge of the Sith is pretty dark when he kills all the kids. Spoilers
shopping spoilers everywhere
for Rob's list for season 3. But like but this is that's the thing. That's why I think this is so good, is because this actually is part of the storyline of the films, whereas in most of the other ones, like a new Jedi pops up, or Force Awakens, all of a sudden, there's this girl who may or may not be a descendant of the Emperor, and all of a sudden you've kind of got an all-powerful person that's kind of taking over, whereas this isn't. Everyone is flawed in this movie. Everyone is more real. And because of that, I think it's like not a kid's movie. I think this is the darkest movie for sure, and so that's why it worked for me, and that's why I think it's a good film not as a standalone, because it is part of it. But besides it's definitely part of the Star Wars universe, besides not having any Jedis, because there's so much going on. But it is like
I feel like you're trying to justify it now, Andy. I'm getting worried for you. Yeah.
But it is.
Now that you've told me there's no Jedis, are you concerned I'm not going to watch it?
You must have some long shifts in the shop, Kev. I'll tell you. Some must wrap.
I mean, the installation of the gelato bar was a big win for me. That really helped.
Does he
So
take his box home with him, or does he just leave it in the room with the other copies of his DVDs that he likes?
It's with him at all times.
The gelato machine was definitely a part of the employee feedback survey.
Let me ask you this question then: if both of you, so if you had the chance, you're the director, right? So now you can from now onwards, you could build the Star Wars universe. You can choose to use the existing films that already exist, or you can choose to completely ignore it and build from scratch again. Where would you go? What would you do? So yeah, Rob, we'll go with you first. If you've got any thoughts as the original.
Yeah, well, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because it's almost like the Harry Potter ones that actually, what do you do with them? Do you sort of almost increase, I know, the age, almost follow the age of watchers?
Yeah.
So obviously, the first one I would have been 3.
Yeah.
So really sort of like Empire and Jedi were the ones that I grew up in. And I know obviously sort of like Sids, they were the first one with merchandise and all the toys. So what you do, you then almost take the original Disney approach, where all you're doing for all your films is targeting 7 to 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
Or do you then sort of grow up with them as they try to do? And I would just go light and fluffy. I'd have Ewoks and Jar Jar and almost just like hit every generation of 12-year-olds that they love it. And obviously when they're like at age, then they don't like it because they've lost the love of being a childhood. life has worn them down, and they want to watch Eric rather than Ewok as well.
Yeah. That's a sad day that we all know when that happens. What about you then, Andy? Would you do that as well? Go light and fluffy and just stick with that sort of age range, or would you how would you work it through?
I mean, because there's just so much, there's more scope for everything now. So I definitely think you should do that. And I think they did to a certain extent. I think Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are kids movies, which is great. And I think the same with definitely Force Awakens and probably Last Jedi. They're kids movies as well. I think Rise of Skywalker for me is just kind of flawed all over the place. Because the storyline just ignores The Last Jedi because they have a disagreement about where they want the story to go, which I think just ruins it. But I think there is also scope for films from other parts of the universe, and I think that's almost what Last Jedi was trying to do. Right? Was actually, these characters have nothing to do with the original. And there was like a small boy sweeping up, after, on horses, who also has the Force that no one's thought of. And I do think there's stories that you can tell that's just in the universe that has nothing to do with sort of the Skywalker and sort of the Darth Vader story. I mean, that's also the interesting thing, obviously, when growing up and sort of having the original 3, obviously it's Han and it's Luke Skywalker and it's that group. Now with the prequels and the sequels, actually it's much more, it's basically sort of Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader's storyline, and it does change, it does fundamentally change the original 3 if you watch them in order, which I've done 1, 2, 3 and half of 4 in a day, which it was
Slow down the shop, was it that one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was before.
It must have been a rainy bank holiday.
That was before Kev was employed. It was there when Seamus was helping me out in the shop.
Well, that makes sense then.
But I do think, and obviously, that's where they're kind of, I think, trying to go now, because there's a lot of films slated, but nothing actually there. But there is, it's a big universe, so I do think there's lots of other places to go. I do think that it's possible just to have something set in the Star Wars universe that doesn't reference anything,
Yeah.
but has the, you know, obviously there's so many iconic things about the universe, right? From lightsabers to stormtroopers,
Yeah.
you know, to a lot of the vehicles and stuff like that that would identify it as being in the universe, but it doesn't have to have anything to do with the original film's storyline or the people in it, because it's supposed to be a very large universe, right? It is an entire universe, so it doesn't. And obviously this, you know, this film does have it, but you don't need to bump into someone from the original films, because you're like, but it's a universe, so like what are the chances of that? So
but then do you lose all the loyal viewers then? If you basically, I don't know, just have Star Wars as a little emblem at the start, and then
I think you do, right? Because I think about, like, I think as a good example is like the Fall Guy that's just come out. Like I was chatting to my friend about it, and he saw the original TV series, and he was like, "Why have they remade that film? The TV series was great." And I was like, "Yeah, they've made it for a different generation. It's not for you. You got to enjoy the original TV series, and that was for you. You're not expected to go and watch this." And I feel like that's what I want to see more of that. I feel like when I watch Star Wars movies, if they constantly have like Harrison Ford, who's now like 156 or something, I'm like, you don't need to be in this film anymore. Go away, go and do something else that also isn't Indiana Jones. Just do something else. Just like move on. Whereas I feel like they add those to your point, Rob, that then all the fanboys go and watch it. And I don't know, do people really still enjoy it, even if you're just because Harrison's Ford in it? Have you enjoyed it, or is it like if the story's weak?
It was stretched, the last one. Like, it was just one of those that you think, well, all right, I see what you're doing here, but we don't need. He wasn't the best actor even in his heyday. I don't want to take anything away from the man. He's obviously had a long career. And he probably doesn't worry about my criticism.
You come in here, you start a Twitter feud with Harrison Ford.
We've covered this. There's many on there. Well, I'm a big Keanu Reeves fan. He's definitely not a good actor, but he's been in some incredible films. And, you know, you need those sort of people in films, right? Like, it's not everyone's going to be like your Christian Bale method actor. You need different types as well. But I think you're right. You just don't need him in every single Star Wars film that's ever been made.
Yeah, well, the extended Fall Guy universe that's coming will be great with different spin-offs and stuff like that. The Fall Guy cinematic universe is going to be great. But I think that's the thing. But you're trying to create people to go, and you're trying to create films that just people who maybe aren't Star Wars fans will go and see. Like, you're trying to increase it, so to sort of say, oh, you know what, this is actually a good film, and you don't need to have watched 7 other movies and 2 TV series and 1 animated series and have played the game. And I think there's space for both. You can have the fanboy films, and you can have the ones that are set very much in the timeline of the original ones, or you know, that aren't, you know, in a different part of the universe. But then also, why wouldn't you, considering there's such a rich sort of backdrop, why wouldn't you do something completely different and say, okay, this is going to be like a Star Wars film that has nothing to do with the original cast or the original story, but it's, you know, someone else, you know, fighting against the Empire or something else, and it doesn't have to be about a Death Star. And that, I mean, that's where the sort of 3 sequels, just they just go through the same story as the original 3, and you're just a bit like, well, it's just.
But then, but surely it comes down to 2 things. It comes down to money, as in, if it's got Star Wars, you're guaranteed whatever box office, even if it's a pile of rubbish, it's still going to bring money.
Like Solo.
Like Rogue One. And then the flip side is a lot of the directors are Star Wars fanboys. So who did this one? I didn't bother looking it up. But sort of, who's the guy happy from Iron Man?
Jon Favreau.
So he's obviously a real big fan, and then Waikiki, he's a real big fan. So again, you've got the guys, and let's face it, the Star Wars universe, in my view, is bigger than any other. as in there's more cross references compared to Marvel or James Bond or the full guy.
Soon expanded. So, you know, I think you're right. I think that's the thing for me. When I think back about when Marvel was good and how it worked well, you'd have like Iron Man film, and if you liked that sort of thing, you watch that. Then there'd be a Thor film, and it may not have anyone else in it other than Thor. And so it's like, oh, actually, you know, you'd go and see the different characters in the different films, and you might not like one of them. Like you might not like, you know, Thor, you might not like Captain America, but it's fun. And then you can always go and see like an Avengers film which has them all in. And I feel like you're right. Like it's the same sort of thing as you were just saying, Rob. But I think for me, that's where I think that Marvel lost it. Is they then were just thinking about having all the characters in there so that they can get as much money as possible. So you like get everyone in, even if there's a little cameo from Captain America, because certain Captain America fans will go and watch it. And then and it's rather than thinking about the actual story and just going, well, let's just make a good film, and then people will go and watch that and not have to worry about anything else. And I think for me, that's where Star Wars has kind of gone. You know, it's sort of, you're just trying to please everyone, and it's like, you know, as you guys are saying, if you actually just concentrate on, you know, building a good story, writing a good script, and actually the universe is so vast, you could have so many different, you know, avenues you could go down. I think that's why The Mandalorian kind of works, because although The Mandalorian is still linked to the original films, other than that, there's no real links to it. It's just in the universe by himself getting on with stuff. There's no links to the backstory until then you get into sort of season 2 and onwards. And I think that's why that works so well. It's like, it's just a standalone, you know, getting on with stuff. And I'd love to see them like properly reboot it and just do it properly without all the old characters in, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about creative control, and obviously what Marvel did well was that everything came together and sort of worked together, even though that's arguable about how well they did it, because obviously it's just a lot of post-credit scenes that has someone else from the universe in it. And I think that's what they've done with Star Wars, is that they've tried to make it all fit together and to almost like have, you know, the original 3 and then build outwards from it. Whereas I just don't think there's a need to. I think you could just go completely random and go and you know, find the next Ewoks. You know, you don't have to have Ewoks. Find, like, you can just have so much creativity that has nothing to do with it, that doesn't have anything to do with the original ones. And actually, you know, you don't need to have a central creative force, but because it's Disney and because of the way that Marvel was working, and I think they tried to do that, which is, it's funny because, you know, this is the first like a Star Wars story. So this was outside of the sort of the 9 films. And then they have Solo, which is also called a Star Wars story. But obviously this and Solo are very much tied in to the original films, right? Because it leads like really directly into the 4th film. And Solo has one of the characters from the original films directly as like the main character. So the
Chewie as well.
And Lando. I mean, that's they're talking about doing a Lando movie now.
I feel like you guys need to build out an entire like I don't know, like an org chart of where you're going to start and how each film's and I want to see this in part 2, and I want to see all the films and all the universe of where you're going to go and what the movies are going to be, and then we'll start pitching it when we come super famous.
Like Memento, or we'll just all these here's some Polaroid.
The shop
tattoos,
will just be,
go for it.
The shop will just be full of little corners of dioramas with the Star Wars figures. Right, so this film is going to have these characters, and for some reason Nimnub's lost his head because it just happened. So he's still going to be getting around.
And the sonic blast have gone through the battle.
I mean, I would say we could just reenact the stories that we used to play as kids, but I don't think we ever actually got to playing. I think we just used to spend so much time deciding who was going to be who, and then we got bored at the end of it, and then
it's like dinner time.
Never actually
dressed up as an Ewok.
Yeah, exactly. One of our cousins still speaks about the fact that she had to be Princess Leia's handmaiden handmaiden because there's only one female character in the original trilogy.
Yeah, there you go.
Ewan
So this
therapy
is
brought it down.
my final question to you both then. So who would you would say the other is best represented as in the Star Wars universe? So yeah, who do you think?
Oh, Jar Jar.
So yeah, Rob, you can go first as the guest.
Old Nin Nub Chandler.
I thought you the guys gone with like Stormtrooper 57. Like,
oh no, he's rubbish.
Andrew's never at the post.
Yeah,
It's just
always
wandering
misses.
around.
Yeah. What is he up to? All right, well, that's something to think about for next time for sure.
We could just make it up. You're not going to know. So.
Yeah, I know. I have no idea who these characters are.
We're going to say each other's, and then we'll burst out laughing. You'll be stood there like, what?
Yeah. Who are these people? Yeah.
We're going to start dropping lines in the movie, and Kevin, see how long it takes you to spot one.
Oh, it would take ages. Yeah, I wouldn't even waste your time. Yeah, I can barely remember movies that I've seen, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Right. Well, yeah, obviously going to be a double episode. So yeah,
big.
With that, we'll settle in. Yeah, I'll do a little prediction, I guess, of what I think everyone's gonna think, how much Rob's gonna have changed his mind. And yeah, we'll put the movie on and yeah, see you after the jump. So as Kevin shows my brother around the shop, and won't get the gelato. It's not his thing. Maybe a Diet Coke or something. Predictions for it. I mean, I don't think my brother's going to change his mind about it. Surely he's got to recognize it as being better than Solo. I mean Solo, but maybe not. And I think Kev will like it. It's quite a war story, and obviously with Empire of the Sun, we're on a bit of a maybe not the biggest war story fan. So we'll see. But I'm going to enjoy watching it again, and we'll see what they think after the jump.
I just find it boring. It's slow, mundane.
What are you talking about?
And full of holes, which I will come into.
Oh no, we've got a Star Wars nitpicker.
Yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers away either, but there are some weird holes in it, I think.
Well, we can go spoilers. This half, we just presume everyone's watched it because of the power of the pod, so you can spoil it as much as you want. It moves really quickly at the beginning. It like goes to like 5 different planets in the space of 20 minutes.
In 30 seconds. And you're like,
yeah, I do feel like they tried to add in so much so quickly, and then you kind of like, hold on a minute, there's just too many characters all at once. But then, I felt for me like it just feels like a sort of run-of-the-mill sort of Star Wars movie. It feels all right. It's just Star Warsy, but it just feels a bit light on substance. I think that's like the story just felt like, did we need this story? I mean, it was nice to watch, but
unlike all of the depths of Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed watching it, but I don't know. Afterwards, I didn't feel like I was like, oh yeah, that was great. I don't know. I mean, you guys are the Star Wars kings.
This is going to be when Andy does his 100 remix ones. You're going to say, no, I never watched Rogue One. Instantly.
Oh, yeah. I've actually watched episode 6. Yeah.
Set up like the first scene, right? So the first scene, I thought, bear in mind that most of the Star Wars films start with a sort of battleship battle. And sort of freighters and so they start and they have one flight that comes down to get Mars, and basically they park 3.5 hours away. And so
that is a classic Star Wars thing, isn't it? It's always like there's never parking nearby.
It's very marshy where they are.
They put the plates away, empty the dishwasher, and they're still not over the hill.
Yeah. That is funny. That is so true.
They're farming. So clearly, the ground would be too soft.
Yeah, it was free parking there, so you got to save your
park and ride sign. That's what I was looking for.
It's 10 to 12. You're not allowed to park ships on the farm. So, I mean, it's funny for that first scene. I was like, oh well, this is the first Star Wars film where I had a daughter, and the beginning of it is a daughter having to leave her father. And I was like, oh, maybe that has something to do with why it has a bit of an emotional punch for me. But then I mean. But then it does move. I think it moves quite quickly. I think there's stuff going on the whole time. But then there was like the central point of it, of like her then when she's growing up, and I mean it skips around a lot, and then it goes to Yavin 4. So then it's got the tie-in to the rest of the movies, and there's always sort of like nods to the other movies. But I just think like the central theme all the way through of like being at war and in like sort of questionable times. Like I think it's good when they're in the sort of the siege, and he kills both one of the stormtroopers, but then kills one of the rebels who's just about to blow up the tank, and that would kill the girl as well. And it's just like everything's compromised. You're just doing what you can to survive.
Yeah, he didn't worry about that at all, did he? He was like, oh, I've got to climb this thing. That's bad enough. I'm not taking you with me. You're literally dead weight. Yeah, here you go. Down you go. Yeah. I don't know. I think, like as Rob was saying, it feels like it moves really quickly at the start. Like there's so many things happening all at once, and I was just like, what's going on? And then, I didn't feel like it necessarily moved slowly for me, considering it is a long film. But yeah, like I said, it just sort of. It's just okay for me. It just sort of meanders along. It's nothing like after I finished it, I didn't think like, so what was the key themes of that story? Like, what did I learn? Or, but then, sometimes I guess you need those sort of films, right? It's the Jason Statham effect, as I say.
Not on Andy's list.
No, this is his Jason Statham.
Yeah, Jason doesn't appear that much. Oh no! Well, I still enjoyed it. I still think it's.
I don't know why you like it though. I don't understand why you rate this above the Meg 2.
Which you're right. Is one of Jason's better films. I mean, I must say, like I know you guys spoke about there was no lightsabers in it. So when you do actually see Darth Vader and that scene, that is for me the best scene in the film. When he comes in and then the lightsaber goes on, you're like, that's good. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I agree. That was my tick.
Yeah,
and then it instantly when he made his gag about some sort of grasp on ambition or something. Like Darth Vader doesn't make jokes. It's like
don't choke on your ambition. Yeah. Well, I mean, but then in all the prequel, I mean, there's bad Darth Vader bits in most of the prequels, right? That's
I can never remember him saying a skit. I'm like,
well, his no at the end of Rise of Skywalker basically is, and not Rise of Skywalker. Revenge of the Sith is ruins the entire film. No, I think because it shows, it widens the universe. It shows like lots of different places, but also what it's actually like under the Empire rule. I think all of the characters are actually interesting characters. I do think when they finally decide that they're going to go and they sort of have the squadron, there was sort of almost goes into comedy, but they're like, well, we've all done stuff for the rebellion, and I thought it was gonna be like Jeff over there has been in a room and just done nothing but for 2 months, and Alan's over there and he's done this, but no, I think it's good because it's grittier, and I think again it's like truer to the original Star Wars, to New Hope, in like theme and style than any of the other ones that have good scenes. But
I thought that was like the FA Cup when they're saying, right, here we are, we've got 3 builders, we've got a plumber, we've got the bank teller, but we're going to pull off a bit.
Everyone loves an underdog, right?
Yeah. I don't know. So what was it? What were the key things you really did like then, Rob? What was it that you're like, oh yeah. Was it
The
just
start?
like the story or yeah, everything, scene one onwards?
Yeah, so I thought it just almost played a bit of Star Wars bingo. It's almost a case of, right, we've got to get as many references in. I quite like some of the subtle stuff. So there were some subtle stuff that I quite liked. But I thought the characters were quite weak. And now maybe it's one of these you build like, I know, Harrison Ford up, because obviously he's still around 120 years later.
Still one of Kev's
but when you compare him to Andor, there's no comparison. Like, it just doesn't work. And like Jin, bless her, I thought she was quite weak. And like where sort of Princess Leia or sort of like sort of Natalie Portman or sort of like the others, I thought she was a bit of a straight to video sort of lead.
Oh,
I mean, that's
which is good for you guys, obviously, in the shop.
yeah.
The amount of videos we've got here that never made it.
Yeah, she's always in the store just checking out if anyone's taking out films.
I mean, I think any comparison to the original Star Wars is it's harsh, and funnily enough, there might be some reviews coming up that make that comparison. Although I think in the cold light of day, let's not pretend that the characters in the original Star Wars are well written and that the script is perfect.
No,
but I think she's good. I think she kind of has that. She has like the range. She has some great lines, like the one, it's not a problem if you don't look up, about the Imperial flag and stuff. I think she's got that. She's just trying to survive, and she has the scene with the dad, which I think is quite emotional. So I think again, comparing it to like the prequels and the sequels, I don't know. For me, it just works more because I just like the style of this way more, because those are just so slick, and also I think they suffer a bit of, okay, well, here's the lightsaber fight, and here's this. Again, I think with this one, it widens what actually is in the universe, so that it's not just all about the Skywalkers. And I mean, obviously Leia turns up at the end, and no spoilers for Empire Strikes Back, but so I think just for me, I think it just makes the entire thing bigger. I would say it is more the style now, having had all of the TV series. You can feel that this almost sort of kicks off the TV series maybe more than the movies. It has more of a feel for it.
So now I'm putting a geeky hat on. The TV set series Andor, there's 4 or 5 things that don't work. So like he says in Rogue One that he joined the Rebel Alliance when he was 6. Now the whole point of the TV series is he's probably 30 odd and actually doesn't want to get involved in the Alliance. So actually they've like almost ignored. I'm not even sure the director of the TV series actually watched this, because there's 3 or 4 things that just doesn't it doesn't add up, where they made a real big effort in the Clone Wars cartoons not to reference or not to make Anakin meet General Grievous, because in the film, the first time he meets him, he says, "Oh, you're smaller than I thought you would be." And so in the sort of the Clone Wars cartoon, they spend 7 series like almost the comical, one walks in one door, one walks out the other, just so they don't mix.
Well, that's the fault of the TV series, though, not the film, because the film came first. So the film,
it's a TV series saying, like he was a rubbish director. No one's going to like this film.
No one will notice. No one's watched that film.
No one's going to put this on 100 top film.
Yeah, I think you're right. It does have a lot of, like, for me as a sort of more neutral Star Wars fan, it has all like the classic, Star Wars tropes, apart from lightsabers. And I did feel like in some of the other films and series I've seen, it felt like it pandered to the original three less than less than I've seen in some other films. So like there was only a bit where they have obviously like Leia at the end. Like I didn't feel, and obviously even Darth Vader only comes in at the end as well. So I didn't feel like it did too much of that. It felt better than some of the films I've seen where, you know, they're just smashing it in left, right, and center, and you're just like, oh, yeah. As we said, you know, Harrison Ford is now basically a brain in a jar. It's like just leave him alone. Just he doesn't need to still act. Let him go. So yeah, I felt that was okay, but yeah, I don't know. It was something I could really put my finger on with it. I sort of enjoyed it, but yeah, you know, I probably didn't remember much of it after I finished it. So it was like
it's standard. Yeah, I mean, I think the Vader bits, like before you then have him sort of in the corridor. I think when the guy goes to Vader, I think it's that bit is quite weak. Especially as he's like, oh, you know, I'm very busy. You know, I'm not sure you can get to Darth Vader and say that you're very busy. I'm not sure that that's like what you do.
Can you imagine?
But again, besides that, I think just you see a lot of different places. You hear about a lot of different things. I think that the sort of the way that the rebellion is, you know, that they're not all organized. They don't all agree. You know, that one guy who just goes to the rebellion basically to say that they shouldn't do anything, and that the council is finished. You're like, well, why did you come to the council then? How can you say the council is finished?
Oh, we've all been in meetings like that.
He's arrived quickly. No, it's finished. Sorry about this. Yeah. I feel like you guys, this is possibly an unprecedented moment. I feel like you guys are starting to agree. Like Rob was saying it should be straight to TV, and you're saying it's linked to the TV series. And it has that gritty nature. So maybe you agree, but on different points. So
what are the nitpicks? So I want to hear the.
Well, one of my main nitpicks was the sort of like the Death Star. So right at the beginning, like someone saying, "Well, we've heard this rumor that there's this this planet destroyer," and then like 10 minutes later, like it kills Jeddah, and you're like, surely someone's seen this thing. Someone's like looked at their Amazon account and thought, oh, there's a lot of metal being built, like being bought at the moment. Like so they managed to like build a planet without anyone really knowing what it was.
Well, I mean, they managed to rebuild it and Return of the Jedi in like 2 months. So again, obviously they can just do it in the middle of nowhere or in the middle of an imperial system, so no one notices. Come on,
with the planet round it, and then
I wonder if anyone was thinking like, I mean, it's horrific, but pretty impressive, right? Engineerily, like that's actually like put together an entire planet. That's quite impressive.
Or it will be like, there's a real shortage of grey paint, just the same as apparently for the Barbie film that there was a worldwide shortage of pink paint because they took so much. Maybe
no, great. If you look around the other side, it's completely white. They just didn't. They've not painted it. They just always make sure they hyperspeed into the front.
So that was one of the first ones. So the pilot, bless him,
cargo pilot. They were at pains to find out that he was a cargo pilot. He wasn't just a pilot. He was a cargo pilot.
So obviously he has his bit in the jail where he's like lost his memory. They've broken him, but he seems to put himself together quite quickly after one question. And then when they then go on to the next one and sort of like meet the dad again, he's like, "Well, I don't usually come this way." So when he's flying. Well, obviously you don't, but then he seems to know the pathway. So they've got a pilot who doesn't fly in that way, but quite often walks the terrain.
Maybe that's how he escaped. That's how he got out. Is going that way.
I always think as well, like with the like, I don't know, spacecrafts. You guys might correct my terminology, but there's the speeds basically they've got off or fast. There's no like, well, should we just slow down and we can slowly meander through this? And it's like, no, it only goes this fast. It either stops or it goes really fast.
They're quite well known for not being economical on their fuel. It was quite an issue with the budgeting department.
Yeah.
The rebellion
Yeah.
having to keep all of those X-wings fueled. They're the
A little sign
Yeah.
on the back saying we only do 56 miles an hour. Don't over.
Yeah.
If you can see this, I can't see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they shot
Mm.
Mars, obviously it's raining. The guy wants to make a sort of an impact. Well, go inside. It's raining. You're standing out there. Most people think, well, let's come inside just in case there's anyone around who's likely to shoot us.
Oh, that shows the arrogance. That shows the hubris.
Yeah.
And he did umbrellas, I think.
They've invented so many things in the Star Wars universe. No one has invented an umbrella yet.
Yeah. There you go. Well, once you got a stormtrooper outfit, I guess, just wipes off, right? You don't need to worry about it. It's like a body
Yeah.
umbrella.
You would have thought so, but actually the stormtroopers are really dirty until the last scene. And then all of a sudden it's like, right, okay, going into New Hope, the
Yeah.
stormtrooper is all pristine white.
Yeah.
So then actually they obviously got their job lot of, I don't know.
Yeah. What I paid, yeah.
Something.
They're like, I ordered this in brilliant white. Someone send these ones back. They're all coming like beige. Yeah.
They'd obviously had a job lot of white and black for the Death Star. And they thought, well, we made it great. Now let's do this.
Yeah. We're throwing this beige paint for free. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay, all right. All right, let me ask you both this question then. So you first, Andy. What did you not like about it, Andy? And then Rob will ask you, what did you like? So yeah, Andy, what didn't you like?
Yeah, I think the bit when they go to Vader, I think it felt very like they were just kind of putting Vader in. I think it would have been better for literally for the first time to see him as the corridor scene. I mean, there's a bit of a question about why he doesn't just use the Force to take the disc out of the guy's hand. But maybe he just doesn't know what it is.
Well, he's got other plans.
Yeah, exactly.
He sees the wider future.
No, there's nothing that I don't really like about it. I think there's holes in it.
What are your thoughts on in the space and time where we've moved forward so much that we still have like hard drive data like backups that you have to manually control to pick up?
They're obviously on Virgin Media. They keep saying that the files are just too big, and so
crazy.
The amount of having to upload it to a disk, that's the tension point. That's, I mean, if we're going to deal with MacGuffins in the Star Wars universe, then I think that's a whole other
we haven't
plot.
got long enough. Yeah. All right, then, Rob, what about you? What was it that you liked? What did you enjoy?
The ending.
I
did like the Darth Vader. I did like sort of like the nod when sort of like Darth Vader, and I do like the way it then like immediately goes to the New Hope.
Yeah.
I'm quite a fan of Forrest Whitaker, but I'm not sure why he was in it at all.
I think his character's in a lot of other stuff, I think, now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
So it's almost sort of like getting obviously the name of the character in, as well as Forrest obviously giving him a bit of a, I don't know, a nod, bit of a favour, but yeah, it didn't really play on his acting skills.
Yeah, it does. It makes Princess Leia way cooler in the New Hope, because now the first time you see a New Hope, she's like, what are you doing? I have no idea why you would be after us. And she's secretly just got the disc, and she knows everything.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't like, she's just lying to Vader's face. I like that it just makes her even better. And it's good last line. What have they given us? Hope. And then that's
I thought that was a bit corny, and just I'm just waiting for them to break the fourth wall and say, "You hope."
Wink. You're not supposed to say wink. But I think because that's the thing between the third one, between the Revenge of the Sith and New Hope, you do have to have like the Empire on top and the fact that everything has been destroyed, and I don't think we've seen that in Star Wars that much. Like that between those two films, I don't think there is too much of just like, actually, the Jedi have failed, they're not around, and it feels like you need to stretch that out so that Luke coming back and Obi-Wan coming back and stuff, actually there is impact there in the light of the prequels. I just think that's what this film does well, is actually shows really that the Empire has won. And so so then it sets up the fact that the three films are kind of them coming back from nothing, because otherwise you just don't really have that emotional impact of like, okay, well, yeah, Yoda's hiding, Obi-Wan's hiding, you kind of know that they're there now because of the prequels. Whereas this shows, the Empire have taken over. There are still people who are trying to fight it. There are still people that, but they're not organized together. There is no like two sides. And then
the Jedis, I guess, have to come out because they built the Death Star, right? So it's like, well, you guys have got to come out because otherwise everyone's dead. So it's like,
well, and they don't even do it. Then Yoda stays on his planet.
He's confident his planet is going to be all right.
I
don't think it stands up on his own. I don't think. I know it's obviously bad people, good overcome, the rebels, like the few win, but I just don't think it stands up on its own. And actually, I don't think it stands up as a Star Wars film.
Yeah. Wow. Scathing review. Look at that. Scathing 3-star review.
Yeah. maybe even less.
And my cover was damaged.
Send me another one, Amazon. Took 5 days to deliver. I did. Obviously, we saw Red 5 get shot down, which leaves an opening, which was quite a nice little one. Red 5 is Skywalker.
I noticed that straight away.
Full sign. I did think it was also funny when they're just about to go through the shield, and one of the pilots like, "It's going to be close." You're like, "Yeah, all right, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for saying that." There was a lot helpful, was it?
There was a lot of chat between the pilots, wasn't there? Like, I'm like, yeah, we've got it. There's pilots in these ships. I'm like, we could just watch the ships, Did you like run out of budget and so you just had to do internal cameras?
Well, they had internal cameras, unlike the concierge. So they could actually be inside the cockpit.
And as with during the films, obviously it doesn't, that their call sign and their ID. I think this is where the 2-stage authenticator came in, because like they got through this time on an old code. They get through in Empire on the sort of an old code. So
too many old codes going around. I mean, people are too busy building this Death Star, and everyone's forgetting about their cybersecurity. It's a real thing.
I think as good as Vader is, obviously he's not very good on the admin. So it would be doing a course if he was working in my places.
Can you imagine someone's come up to him? Well, look, I've got the document here. You still haven't signed it. I gave it to you a month ago.
You're not meeting objectives this week, babe. I think we need to do some training.
360 review.
As he said, I think being one of his guards must be the most pointless. Pointless jobs of all time. You're just a bit like, so why are we guarding this guy? He seems quite capable. I think
I'm only here, just to get a shot. Or for him to crush me. There's no other reason.
I do love that the engineers choose the nicest planet to have their base on. Obviously, they're just like, let's go somewhere sunny with a nice beach. That's where we'll put everything.
Well, it helps with the Wi-Fi. Obviously, everything disrupts it there. So.
Got to be line of sight.
What did you have as the? How did you describe this to the aliens, Andy?
You know what? I didn't have anything. I didn't know. Do we describe, like, have the aliens already seen it? Do they know what it is? Do they think it's,
is this happening?
Is it actually aliens from Star Wars who are coming? I was just like, I just think it's actually the aliens. So.
Oh wow! So they don't need describing. Okay. Did you have anything on this, Rob?
Just this is what you should not do. Was my view, because obviously they know what they're doing. They come down, they have their Wi-Fi sorted. They've like put three
Yeah.
colours into their computer screens, and they've got away from the block lines.
Yeah, that is funny. Like the little things that they put together like that, like the green. They still like the green screen, like as a homage to the old one. I feel like everyone's like, yeah, that's fine. We don't need that homage. We can move that one. That can go. I'm
But
alright that we can.
it's set just before the new one. So then, if they didn't do that, then people would be like, "Oh, well, the chronological of that monitor 7.3
I'll be like,
is actually before."
Hold on a minute. Yeah, this film's completely unrealistic. Yeah,
And I think they can build a planet that kills people, but they can't actually have three colours on their screens.
Yeah, it comes back to Darth Vader again, doesn't it? He's like, I'm not accepting this until you get the quote down. I'm not upgrading the IT system. We're over budget on the Death Star.
We don't want another monitor. We've got enough now. We've got 7,900.
Oh dear.
Did you have anything, Kev? Did you describe it to the aliens?
Oh, I just put some people dress up for Halloween and have a big row. That was. I thought, that could get them excited in the film. Oh yeah. Was anything that you guys thought that the film answered? I mean, I guess it's difficult because it basically questions it's answering it in the Star Wars universe, really, isn't it? There's nothing else outside of that.
Well, I think, that's the thing for me. I think it answers when is enough, and you have to fight. That's the core premise to me is, okay, well, when you left no choice but to fight, which I think is what they're trying to say, right? The rebellion has to come forward because otherwise it's going to be wiped out.
But don't they say that in every film? Every Star Wars film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hold on, this is going to take us a bit of time to verify.
Right, let's get the DVDs down. Okay. Well, I think no. I don't. That's from the prequels. No. I don't think because there is no one that they're fighting. It's just the Jedi, and it's the rebellion is obviously way more present in the original three than any of the sequels or the prequels. I don't think the rebellion doesn't really feature in the sequels. There's obviously, even though they've remade New Hope in the first one, I'm not sure.
I distinctly remember a fight in every single one.
Yeah, well, I mean, talking characters, I mean, Poe Dameron, just
better than Andor.
Oh, no, you're kidding me. Andor's way better than
And then Nob's better than Andor.
Oh, don't say Jar Jar Binks, because I feel like this pod will end and there'll be a fight.
I did ask the question whether Jar Jar is better than K2SO.
Oh, no. And what was your answer?
Well, apart from the way Jar Jar talks,
that
wasn't really annoying. And the point of it
exists. No, Jar Jar's voice is extremely annoying. Definitely Katie's better.
And completely pointless. At least there's a bit of comedy with Katie.
Yeah.
Pointless comedy.
It's lightening the movie a bit.
So I was thinking, obviously I realised why they did this film, but that was basically on one line on the New Hope saying, "Oh, I know a lot of people lost their lives to get us this information." But then, actually, if you were sort of sat around a table and you think, right, okay, we're going to do one that leads us in to some New Hope, this wouldn't be the plot I would have chosen.
Well, what would you have done instead?
A better one.
No, here we go. He's got a script. Right, everyone settle in.
3 hours later.
Yeah, like copyright.
Act 1, C1. Here we go.
I'm talking to George tomorrow about it.
The camera comes up on the spaceship by the moon.
Will be lightsaber fights in there, right?
Yeah. There's lightsabers in every scene.
Yeah. Just one big lightsaber battle. They pass off the one-to-one. I think they also are asking why the ultimate weapon in the universe has a hole in it that if you shoot something in, then it destroys the whole thing, right? And I think that's the biggest thing that they're surely trying to
the question answers,
answer.
Yeah, I thought
But
that. I
then
thought that
the
sets
other
that up.
engineers didn't sort it out. No
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
at any stage
No one found
says,
it.
you know what? What happens if?
Well,
Yeah.
maybe some of them did, but again, everyone could see it's too bad. He told his manager, who then told Mads. He said he fired that person or shot him.
Yeah.
And then that was that. He hid it too. I mean, when the guy has to go and he's going to review all of the plans, you know, that's gonna take a while, isn't it?
Yeah.
For something that big and
Yeah,
bad
he's
enough when
definitely
it's
not
like a
gonna
model
do-
airplane.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to do a full job on that, is he? He's like, yeah, I did like pages 1 to 8. That looked fine. So, you know, the rest of it should be okay.
And do we think Mads was good or bad in reality?
Right,
So
I think-
actor or
Well,
the
no,
character.
Yeah. I think he acted well. I thought he was good, but I thought the character, I didn't really buy into the fact that he would have built the Death Star. They should have just got the wife captured, I think. Like when the wife's dead, like, why would he bother? Why would he build it? Just, and I know he gives some feeble excuse, but you're like, you just wouldn't. So I feel
Yeah,
like
but
they
he
should
said
have
that
captured the wife.
they would have done it anyway, and that this way.
Yeah, but they didn't
he
have
could-
his ability. And then he goes, oh, they didn't realize they were pretty much there already. I was like, what? He flew down, parked like 12 miles away, walked all the way across the marsh to come and get you. They definitely weren't ready. Come on. Unless they were like, oh, yeah, it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to set you back another 6 months. Sorry, we're behind schedule.
What if we don't have any more grey paint? We've got to go and find that guy.
What did you think, Andy? Did you think he was good?
Yeah, no,
Actor and character?
Yeah, I think it's a good character because it is
Yeah.
that choice about what does he do, and if you're
Yeah.
involved in it's almost the most sort of not the most sympathetic, but like he's worked for the Empire. He sort of has realized that he's done evil things, and then what do you do then? Do you just
What do you do?
continue
You
on?
build a star.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
Oh,
someone
yeah, I
else-
mean, the
if
killed
I did-
planets.
Yeah, if I didn't do it, someone else would do it.
But you
I'm not
build
sure
in
that-
you build in a
Yeah.
weakness in the Death Star that obviously they don't fix for Return of the Jedi either. Maybe they should have been like that thing that blew it up last time. Should we cover that this time?
But
Yeah.
clearly, it's almost a case of if he can do a weakness, he could have actually put a self-destruct button in there that no one knew about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, who knows how much oversight there was as far as the construction was involved. So, I mean, it would have been very difficult to move everything so that it causes the chain reaction.
Wow.
What about favorite lines then? Do you guys have any? Did you have any on these, Rob?
Well, I quite like the flag one that Andy sort of mentioned earlier. And then also
Yeah.
when he puts that hood over the blind man and he says,
Yeah.
oh, you kidding me, I'm blind. Yeah, they were the only two sort of like, And I was there with a notepad trying to get something to it.
Trying to find them. Yeah.
Oh.
What about you, Andy?
I think when he says you're confusing peace with terror, and he says, "Well, you've got to start somewhere." I thought that was a good line. I think when she says to Andor, "You might as well be a stormtrooper," I thought that was that's a line.
Cutting.
Yeah, just like okay, well, if you're just following orders, then you're just as bad as everyone else. And he's like, well, but I didn't kill him. She's like, but you were going to. And he's like, but I didn't.
Yeah.
She doesn't really.
Unlike the stormtrooper,
Yeah.
we don't seem to be able to kill anyone.
Yeah, that's classic. I feel like those guys never get any training. Like, they're always just shooting all around.
Well, but they kill lots of people in the end thing. Like everyone dies. So they do kill everyone in the end. All of it. So
Yeah, but
that
it's
was
like
a
a
point
billion of
before we
them.
watched it when you said, "Oh, they just keep missing." But no, the stormtroopers kill all of them in the rebels.
They have to
for
bring in the
once.
big guns. Darth has to come in and sort it out. He's like, "Oh, I'm here again, then, guys. Come on, who's left?"
It's cool when he puts the guy on the roof and then just like with the backhand slices him.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
I don't think you needed to finish him off.
Yeah,
I
was
think a lot of the K2 lines are funny.
yeah. There was one from K2 where he had when they're rescuing her, and he says, "Congratulations, you're being rescued. Please do not resist."
He's caught her in
like,
midair.
Yeah.
I think it's when she shoots the other one, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Did you know that wasn't me?"
Yeah. He's like, totally.
Yeah, of course.
So you two laugh more on this than he did in Brewster's Billions, by the sounds of it.
Well, I mean, this
Oh.
doesn't have the scroll at the start of it telling us the story. So
Explaining it to us.
No, you have an 8-foot
True.
robot telling you the story.
in some way,
Yeah.
Brewster's is more of a Star Wars film than
In many ways,
this.
it is.
Which takes us nicely onto the 3-star reviews, frankly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because someone did actually say no Star Wars opening school, so it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
They're,
brilliant.
they're literally only
From the
there
people.
for the school. I've replied to
Yeah.
that person on Amazon and told them to check out
Wow.
Brewster's Millions.
Brilliant. Great news.
There was the first one. It's a very long review, but it begins brilliantly with hesitantly, which I think is just a great way to start any review.
Yeah, it's a good start. Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to give this 3 stars. It was fairly easy to watch. The main character is pretty likable, and I would have liked to see more of her. The captain character I found fairly likable. The robot
Yeah.
was really quite likable, a charming addition to the team. The blind
Yeah.
character was quite interesting. Again, would have liked to see him more. And I liked the relationship he had with his comrade. So everyone's likable, but still
Yeah.
just doesn't.
Wow,
deliver.
that's it.
I don't
He's
know.
hit the nail on
Yeah.
the head.
I think
And
that
obviously couldn't
the
remember
blind.
anyone's character's names.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I did bother going back to find the blind guy. He was good until he just kept repeating the Force like mantra or like. I was like, it's too much. I get it. I don't understand what you're trying to say, but you are over-indexing this. I had to just mute it. I was like, this is just too annoying.
That's,
You need to stop.
That's what the mantra is.
That's religion. Yeah,
It's
is that what you're
repeating
saying?
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else said too many speeches seems a bit forced. In the first Star Wars, it came naturally, and any speeches were short and worthwhile.
Yeah.
Again, with a bit of a critical eye, I think that's a bit harsh.
Luke was always natural in everything he did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that dialogue. Old Harrison kept saying, "You know what? The dialogue is what made these movies." Someone said the Empire was beaten once. Whose smart idea was it to bring back again? Boring. So I'm not sure that they got where this sits in the timeline. But they obviously didn't. They didn't work that out. And then someone, obviously, we always have to have someone criticizing the DVD. Film arrived quickly, so no complaints from the seller, but the film wasn't as good as I was expecting. But this is the fault of the writer and director. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, he didn't want to think, have anyone assume that he was criticizing the person who sold it in the DVD. He's criticizing the writer and director of the movie.
Yeah.
He's standing up for the post office delivery service. He doesn't want to.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible, isn't it? I hope they've read that and gone, whoa. Well, this person, they really cut deep on that one.
Don't buy anything from the writer and director, but do buy other things from the same seller.
Yeah.
So do we think it would do worse or better? I mean, first one to do over $1 billion, I think.
It's pretty good.
I don't know anything does $1 billion these days. It's pretty fair.
I would say worse. I think with all the TV series out now, I feel like there's 2 reasons I think it would do worse. I think like you can watch them on TV instead, and people have giant TVs as well, like really big all projectors. And I just think there's a bit of oversaturation of the universe at the moment. So I feel like if it came out now, I think it would probably do worse.
I think that's probably true. Again, I do think, and maybe it's because there wouldn't be any lightsabers, but I do think the gap between 3 and 4, there's almost there's more interesting stories to do there. But I think that it depends on what people think Star Wars is and what it's going to be, and obviously no one kind of knows that yet. I did see yesterday I was in a rival video shop, and they had the box set which was called the Skywalker saga. So obviously maybe the marketing department are starting to think, okay, well, we'll leave these and just go and do something else. There are a lot of films slated, but nothing's coming out anytime soon. So algorithm, the computer didn't think too hard about this. Anything. Did anyone go for Dirty Dozen? And
I mean, yeah, I guess in some ways you could say Dirty Dozen. No, I just went other Star Wars movies because, you know, is what it is. What about
So
you, Rob?
this,
Yeah, no, so yeah, the other Star Wars, and sort of funny enough, some of the Arnie ones as well, like Total Recall and stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah, okay.
yeah, just like almost that pointless ones on planets films. I was trying to find one for Tom Hanks because I know like Kevin Hart likes
Oh.
a Tom Hanks reference
Oh.
in every pod. I couldn't make a comparison.
has he ever
No,
done? Has he ever done a sci-fi? I'm not sure. I'm
I
not sure
don't
that
think he has.
I'm sure that he has. So the Algo had all the Star Wars movies, and then had Star Trek as well. And I feel like the Algo not understanding that you can't compare
Yeah.
Star Wars and Star Trek to each other actually is a loss. I don't know whether that's technicality or not, but you can't say the Star Wars and Star Trek are the same, surely.
It's like Tesco
Well, I mean-
like subbing your Celtic scarf for a Ranger
Yeah,
scarf.
exactly. Yeah. No one buys match day 2 scarf at the Rangers Celtic derby. So I'm gonna award that that the Algo doesn't know what it's talking about.
Oh, really? You're
yeah.
taking it away?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, you can't say Star Trek for Star Wars.
Yeah, wow. You really are a Star Wars fan, aren't you?
Yeah, that puts us nicely ahead. So yeah, we continued the route at the moment.
So
And he needs to win, Kev, is it?
yeah, he needs to win. Well, yeah, as a Man United
It's
fan,
my
he
podcast
knows all
and I'm
about
not
that.
winning.
Yeah. So yeah, Eddie's. It's staying at number 65. Is it moving up the list? Where's it going?
Yeah, so it's definitely staying in. I still think it's the most interesting non-original Star Wars. I think there's good scenes in all of the other ones, but I think there's also really bad scenes that make them a bit cringeworthy. I think
But
they're
you still have this above all the prequels and the sequels.
as a total film, yeah.
And
What?
Solo.
I mean, I can't believe you need to rewatch Solo because I'm not doing it with you because Solo is so bad. Yeah, because I would gladly watch a scene from a lot of the prequels or 2 scenes, but as a film, there's so much stuff that's just boring and pointless. I mean, Attack of the Clones straight away, it just gets dismissed because it's just rubbish.
Uh-oh.
But
It's all coming out now.
yeah, Phantom Menace again, Duel of the Fates, probably the best lightsaber battle in all of them. Pod race is really good, but again, there's so much talking in it, and the entire Gungan subplot is just a waste of time. And also, Ewan McGregor's just a bit weird in it.
Yeah.
It is a bit weird. Rise of the Sky, Revenge of the Sith. Again, I think
Wow.
the first half of it, just isn't good, and then it's just the lightsaber battle, which obviously is why you like it so much.
This is a full critique on Star Wars.
Yeah.
Didn't expect this. It's a
And then,
full-on 3-star review to finish with.
And then I think the sequels,
Yeah.
The first one is just a carbon copy of New Hope, and it's like just a bit pointless because of that, without any of the actual action that makes it good. Last Jedi it would, again, controversially, would be like the closest, because I do think Last Jedi has a lot of good stuff, but then also has Leia floating in space and coming back in, which is not the best scene ever. And Rise of Skywalker. I mean, the fact that it's called Rise of Skywalker is just weird because she's not a Skywalker.
Well, yeah.
And it's
Is
just
that
a bit
the
bizarre.
latest one?
Yeah.
Oh, that one was awful. That was truly awful.
Yeah. I mean, the sequels just suffer because they changed their mind on which way they wanted the films to go. So basically, the last one is just like, again, disagreeing with everything from the film before, which is bad. So long story short.
Wow. Yeah.
In Rogue
Wish and
One
ask.
fashion.
Yeah.
Let's go around the houses, ramble on a little bit, and then the answer is no.
We've been to 4 different planets in that time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave it in the 60s. It's gonna go up down to 69, which is the next slot available. But as the representative of Star Wars movies outside of the original 3, then it's gonna stay in there.
I
Where-
predict
Okay.
that it will fall further.
Well, you think we're going to start putting films
Yeah.
back below?
Yeah.
I think you're over.
Yeah.
You're overthinking
Yeah.
how much we're paying attention to the list.
Yeah.
If you think we're doing that.
I mean, Andy's always gone meta on this list already. I don't know, like, how much more meta I can accept. So,
how would
He's
it?
as stubborn as a stormtrooper.
How would it fall further? I mean, it's just like space. Things don't fall.
well, yeah, that was one of my points
Yeah.
actually when the two ships that crash together and then start falling. I was like, would that happen? But let's not worry about that.
Well, momentum in
Um,
space in a vacuum, obviously, there'd be nothing to stop them not falling. So it's not really that they're falling; they're just continuing the path that they're on.
doesn't look like they're continuing the path. It looks like they're falling directly down. But I
Maybe
take
the-
your point.
The planet has a lot of gravity. No, that's it. Yeah, that is a bit one. So,
Yeah.
Kev, where did it go on your
Yeah.
Rob, you don't get one. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to vote.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the bottom of Rob's anyway,
Yeah,
so
it's
no
not
worries
my
about that.
list, it's fine.
Well, yeah,
Um,
he's still watched once and all of the other ones. To be honest,
Oh,
even if
man.
it's the worst Star Wars movie,
Yeah,
it's still
don't watch
still quite
once,
high.
honestly. Save your troubles. I'll put it at the top of my okay section. So it's
Okay.
17 out of 36, below Thunderball and above the other guys.
Okay, so just at the
Oh, yeah.
top of the second division.
Yeah, it was
Interesting.
watchable. It was all right, but yeah, I wouldn't. Didn't hit the dizzy heights of good.
Wow, I can't wait for the next Star Wars movie. Well, I will try not to be having a go at it in comparison to Rogue One, because obviously it is actually higher up in the list. So we have to agree a bit
Good
more
news.
on it. But
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Uh,
we need the continuity, right? Just like these
Yeah.
films. So
we should record the next one right now and just go directly into it, or use computer animation in order to do that. Well, thank you very much. Thanks, Rob, for coming down to the shop. I'm sure we will see you later on for some upcoming movies. Next week, no quote. It is a Tom Hanks movie. We finally get to hear what
Big.
the beef is all about. So join us of that. I mean, that is as much of a cliffhanger as Rogue One has going into New Hope.
is there a Hank's Hope? Who knows?
Thanks to Tom Evans as ever for the theme song, and we'll see you next week.